My name is Jack Ruch. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking all about blues turnarounds. I'm going to show you a classic blues turnaround and how to play it in 3 levels from beginner to advanced. Let's get into it. So a turnaround happens in the last 2 measures of a 12-bar blues form. This is the section that brings you back to the top of the form. And it's very common to hear these types of turnaround licks, usually some kind of ascending or descending chromatic movement, things like this. Or even other variations like this. This is the section that brings you to the final 5 chord in the 12th bar of the form that then brings you back to the top of your 12-bar blues form. So today I'm going to take you through a very basic beginner blues turnaround lick, and then I'll show you some ways you can spice this up and add some flavor to it. It's always a good idea to have a little vocabulary of different turnaround licks you can use so you don't get stuck using the same one all the time. Now, where this falls in the form, again, is basically in measure 11 of your 12-bar form. So today we're going to be in the key of C. We're going to be playing a blues out of a C7 sound. And the 5 chord is going to be a G7 or G9. The 4 chord is an F7 or F9, and then back to our 1 chord. And so that's right where these licks are going to fall. So this first lick I want to show you is really a great place to get started if you don't have a vocabulary of turnaround licks already. And what this lick is going to be is a descending chromatic line on the bottom with a constant note on top, a pedal tone on top. And the 2 notes to start with are this B flat note on the 8th fret of the D string, and then this C note on the 8th fret of the high E string. That's your root note and your flat 7 of a C7 chord. And basically what we're going to do is keep this C constant on top, but chromatically move the B flat down from B flat to A flat, and then down to G. And there's a couple of different ways you can articulate this with your picking hand. You can alternate, or you can use the pick and one of your fingers and do sort of a claw technique and grab them both together. And there's lots of different phrasing options you have, like different things like that, that are going to allow you to take this in different directions depending on the groove and the overall vibe you're going for. So that's our sort of ground zero entry level beginner blues turnaround. But now let's see what we can do to add to this to give it a little bit more movement and a little bit more interesting flavor. One of the things I want to introduce right now is this idea of counterpoint. Now, counterpoint is when you have 2 different melodies moving in different directions, one descending and one ascending. And so since these blues turnarounds can come in so many different forms, what I'm going to do is kind of combine 2 different ones together. What we're going to have is this descending lick combined with this ascending melody. And this starts on the note E, which is the 3rd of a C major chord, and walks up to G, which would be the fifth of a C or the root of our 5 chord of our G7 chord. And so when we play these two things together, we get a sound like this. And now you'll notice I'm picking this with 2 fingers, my middle finger and my ring finger, and the pick. So the pick is grabbing the lowest note, and then with my 2 fingers here, I'm grabbing the B and high E string. And this gives you the sound almost like a piano where all the notes are being hit at the same time. And again, we can do different rhythmic things with this. Or right, so this has a nice sound with these 2 sort of contrary moving parts, right, which gives it a different flavor and a lot of interesting color. Now, the next thing I want to do, the third level I want to take this to, is to flesh these out as full chords. So far, we've been playing either 2 notes or 3 notes, but really all these things can be part of larger chords. And this is kind of the concept that I really want to impart with you guys today, is the idea that everything we play on guitar, everything we play melodically, single note ideas, really stem from chords, from harmony. And so the more you can start to see the fretboard in terms of chord shapes and start to understand things as all being connected together, melodies, bass lines, chords, they're all connected together through harmony, and they're really all the same thing. If I play a solo, it's really just an extension of what's happening underneath in the chords. And it's a really important way to think about the guitar and to look at music in general. So now we're going to take this little 3-note counterpoint idea that we've got. And we're going to flesh these out into full chords. And so the way to do this really is to just look at what's going on and see what kind of chords jump out to you, what obvious, if there are any obvious kind of voicings that might pop up here. So the first chord I'm going to play right here is a C9 voicing, right? I have this classic kind of bluesy C9 voicing right here that I love to play, and that's the flat 7 on the bottom, the 9th, then the major 3rd, and the root on top. And that's all right out of this chord voicing right here. Then as we move down, I'm looking at these 3 notes and I see the top part of an F7 chord, right? This is like this type of voicing, right? The kind of Born on the Bayou voicing, right? But with the root taken off the bottom and instead the 5th played on top, which is a really nice voicing for a dominant 7 chord. And again, it has those 3 notes in it. So now I'm going C9 to F7. Now as we move to this next part, I'm looking at this chord and I'm seeing this as part of an A flat 7 chord. Again, right here I've got this A flat 7 voicing, and this is like if we were to play a D shape for A flat, but flat the 7, you'd get that and play the root down here. This is this voicing. And so now I've got C9, F7, A flat 7, and then finally we go here to our 5 chord, basically the G chord. So I'm just going to play a G major, right? You could play like that voicing. So now we've got C9, F7, A flat 7 to G, which really makes a lot of sense in terms of a blues, right? We've got the 1 chord moving to the 4 chord, and then this classic kind of movement of A flat, the flat 6, moving down to the 5. You hear that a lot in the blues, that kind of half step pull of dominant chords, right? So all these chords really fall nicely in this spot, but they're also all part of our turnaround that we started with. So now we've gone from this simple 2-note thing to adding the counterpoint element, and now full chords. Right, so a really cool way of thinking about playing things on the guitar, looking at these simple, basic lines as being part of larger chords. This is something you hear a lot with great jazz guitar players, guys like Joe Pass, where he takes these melodies to standards and turns them into these beautiful chord melody pieces. This is just sort of dipping your toe in the water into this type of playing, and a very practical way you can use it in music you might already be playing, like a standard blues. And there's a million ways you can do these types of things and break these kind of things down. Now, if you want the notation and tabs for these examples, head over to my Patreon page. The link will be down in the description. And I'll have all these examples tabbed out. I'm also going to throw up a little bonus turnaround up there, another one that I like that sort of takes off from the same basic idea. But thank you guys so much for supporting the YouTube channel and for watching these videos. I hope you got something good out of this. Once again, my name is Jack Ruch, and I will be back here next week with another lesson. So until then, happy practicing and take care.